You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Always happy to be here.
Jeff Wagstaff.
Hey, guys.
And, every time you tune into American Medicine Today, we talk to patients because they have traveled the globe sometimes trying to seek out a resolution to their spine pain. And what they're being told by some leading doctors out there in hospitals, that nothing can be done, that you're going to have to be filleted like a fish down the front, down the back, these huge, huge scars, and months, if not years, of recovery. It's not the case with the Bonati spine procedures. They are targeted precision procedures that bring about 98.75% patient-reported success. So it's not just success that any surgery was performed, but it's actually the patients talking about their success and resolution of their pain. And they're exclusive and patented at the Bonati Spine Institute, so no other place on this planet is able to do that. With that said, we have an exciting show, but up first...
In today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
It is my pleasure to introduce to the program Dr. Ed Cizik from Messina, New York. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Oh, you're welcome, Kim. Happy to join.
Well, you are a dentist, correct?
Yes, I've been a dentist for 37 years.
Okay. And how did you come to suffer in pain?
Well, the event that caused the most pain was when I worked construction at our summer camp. A dock fell in.
Ooh.
And it was a pretty heavy dock. It's 20 by 24 with a lot of pressure-treated wood that had been soaking in the winter.
Okay.
So my wife and I hauled it out, and then we rebuilt it. It took 3 weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And by the third weekend, I was working with a back brace full of ice cubes.
Wow.
Because my back hurt so badly. And I have a friend, Joel Santee, Dr. Joel Santee, across the lake.
Okay.
And he could see that I was in trouble. And the pain never really left. It was, from that point on, pretty severe, shooting down my legs, across my back.
Ooh.
And it really debilitated me.
Okay.
So he suggested, well, let's try chiropractic. So we did decompression and, adjustments. And
right.
It would seem to help a little, but never really went. And you realize you accommodate to this pain, but it was getting worse. So by the fall, playing golf, I couldn't walk anymore. I couldn't play golf.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't... carry bags in the airport.
Okay.
I'd have to get one of those things. Standing in line at TSA, my legs would go numb, and I'm looking for a place to sit down because there was so much pain.
Right.
And that's when Joel suggested it was time for me to get an MRI.
Mm-hmm.
We had that done and found I had severe stenosis.
Wow.
And my lumbar region was all affected.
Got it.
And Joel works with Dr. Bonati, and he recommended I go there.
Well, Dr. Cizik, let me ask you, when you talked about that pain, you said it spreads across the back and then it kind of radiates into the buttocks. How is that affecting your life, that pain?
Well, like I say, you accommodate.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't pick up my grandchildren. I can't carry anything, so now my
Sure.
wife is carrying groceries in.
Mm-hmm.
To get to work in the morning, of course, being a dentist, I can't take any pain relievers other than like ibuprofen. So my morning schedule is get up, have 800 milligrams of ibuprofen,
Right.
Get on a bike, stationary bike, and pedal for about 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did this core yoga, which is recommended by Dr. Sani.
Okay.
And that another half hour of that, then a hot shower, and then I'd ice my back. So it would take me about 2 hours to be ready to go to work.
Okay.
And then I could get through most of the day. But by the the evening, I was pretty well shot.
Wow. Now, was it always the same type of pain, or did it affect you differently based on whether you were sitting for a long time and then standing, or obviously when you were standing, you said your legs tended to go numb and it was affecting you if you went to travel, different things like that. But how was it affecting you? Because as a dentist, I would assume you're sitting a lot, aren't you?
Yeah. Fortunately for me, sitting, I never sit too long for any procedure, so I have a chance to get up and move frequently.
Right.
So sitting was fine, but there were times when I would sit and there's just a feeling I know like something's not right. And if I got up, the pain was so severe, shooting down my legs and in my back. Hard to describe it.
Right.
I would just have to lay on the floor. I couldn't move.
Ooh.
And that could last 20 minutes.
Got it.
And unfortunately, it never happened during work, but that really did worry me because I think, well, I'm getting to the point where I won't be able to work. And of course, anecdotally, I have a lot of patients who have had back surgery, and I'm thinking that's going to be like 6 months out, and none of them ever seem to do well afterward. In fact, a lot of them end up on disability, have fusions or surgery. So I didn't really want to do
traditional. Correct.
Yeah, traditional.
Yeah. Did you have any trouble putting on socks? I know that probably sounds silly, but sometimes the simplest of tasks to many people are those that you can't do when you're in that kind of pain.
Oh, absolutely. I put on socks is a chore. Touching my feet is a chore. Even in the shower, I had to have a stool. I couldn't stand in the shower. So, it's hard, dressing yourself. But what happens is you just kind of go along and I think as humans, just accommodate to all the things.
You adapt. You get used to it.
It was affecting me more and more and more, and to the point where I'm a pretty active person. I worked construction my whole life. When I was younger, I was a Teamster union member. I loaded trucks, tractor trailers for UPS. I played hockey all through college. I water skied, downhill skied. We climbed Kilimanjaro when I was 60 on my 60th birthday. So to go to that, to the point where I can't, none of those activities were open to me.
Well, Dr. Z, what finally led you to seek out the Bonati Institute?
Well, golf.
Golf, okay.
So you can handle the pain, but when you can't go out there and tee it up, you got to get help.
That's right. I can't bend down and get the ball out of the cup. That's time. And the guys are joking with me, and they give me a suction cup to put on the end of my putter.
Oh, no.
They're like, no.
Yeah.
I've got to do something.
Right.
Well, the good thing for you, Dr. Zisak, is that you happen to be friends with Dr. Joel Santee, who, as we mentioned, has worked very closely, even being way up in New York State and we're down in Florida. He sends patients down to Bonati all the time because Santee's a chiropractor.
Yes.
People he knows that need surgery that he can't fix.
Correct.
He says, I know the best person in the country, maybe the world, to do this, and it's Dr. Bonati.
And he's actually been on our program talking about his experience with Bonati spine procedures. So did it make you feel more confident to know that's the choice that you were making?
Absolutely. And I trust Joel. He really investigates things. And if my life sounds a little active, Joel's a wild man. I'm a choir boy. So I think Joel has broken his neck. And, back. And I noticed he stopped skiing. He's younger than me, and he water skied all the time. He stopped a lot of activities.
Right.
And he kept pushing me. He did, say, you got to do this. You got to do this. And he went down, and he came in and walked into my office and looked at me.
Well, Dr. Z, tell us about that initial contact with the Bonati Spine Institute and your experience there.
Well, let's see, the initial one, like when I was first there.
When you came in, and they kind of call it the Bonati experience, but they have the evaluation where you get to meet the doctor. And what was that like? Did you have to explain to Dr. Bonati where your pain was, or did he kind of tell you where you were feeling the pain?
Yeah, well, the Bonati Institute, they really, I can't praise them enough. I have a dental office. We spend a lot of time making sure that patients have a good experience. You walk in there, you're greeted by Paul. He's with security, and everything is just as smooth as can be. You really feel comfortable.
Right.
And there are people that answer all your questions. when Dr. Bonatti came in to examine me, he told me, no, he looked at my X-ray and said, don't tell me what's wrong. I'm going to tell you your symptoms.
Right.
And he nailed them right down the line. And as he was drawing on the X-ray or the MRI and showing me where the stenosis was, and this causes this. This is this. Am I right? Yep, you're right. There was only one thing he said I had that I didn't. And he said, well, we'll fix that next time when it starts to bother you. So he had a great sense of humor, and he knew exactly what my symptoms were. In fact, he told me, he said, I'll bet you think you have a bad hip. And I did. In the yoga exercise, certain moves I can't do. My hip would hurt. He goes, you don't have a bad hip. He showed my hip was fine, but where this nerve is pinched, it's causing a lot of pain in your hip. So he knew exactly what my symptoms were without me telling him anything.
That's amazing. Now, were you nervous at all knowing that they were going to have the conscious IV sedation?
No, the conscious IV sedation didn't bother me. Like I say, I've had that before. The fact that they're going to wake me up during surgery was a little like, oh, I wonder what this is going to be like. But it was very, very easy. Okay. In fact, really interesting. I actually watched what he was doing.
I was just going to ask.
I looked at the screens down below you, and you're looking through the same camera he is. And you can see working there. You told me there's your spinal cord. If anything worried me, it was like, oh, how is this going to feel after?
Right.
And I was amazed that it was really easy. I had one bad day, and they got me right in, gave me an epidural, and took care of it. But, yeah, I didn't even need strong pain relievers.
That's great. And how are you doing now?
My pain's gone. It's been 6 weeks, I believe, and I went back to work 1 week after my last surgery.
Look at that.
To a full schedule, over full schedule, and I'm fine.
Were your patients surprised to see you back so quickly?
Yeah, a lot of them were a little worried about me, and they're surprised. So, and the number of people my age that have back problems is astronomical. So
I bet.
I'm sure you're going to see a few of my patients down there because I've spoken very highly.
Bring them down. We'll fix them. Dr. Bonatti will. I won't, but
we'll talk about it.
You don't want me working on your back, but.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ed Cizik of Messina, New York. Thank you so much for sharing your story of recovery with everyone here on American Medicine today. We're glad we helped you regain your strength and get back in motion.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What a great guy. I know. And what a testament to the Bonatti spine procedures, the fact that a chiropractor in upstate New York refers people on a daily basis to Dr. Bonatti.
Dozens of people.
Yeah, he tries his treatment when he sees it's not working the way that it should. For certain individuals, those are the ones that he refers to the Bonatti Spine Institute. And then they come back to him for gait training and everything like that. So everybody's happy all around. If you're suffering with neck, back, sciatic pain, reach out to Bonatti at Bonatti.com, 855-267-0483.
Up next, we're actually going to talk to Kevin Hazard, who's a former EMT. He wrote a book called 1,000 Naked Strangers, and it's all about his crazy years working in some of Atlanta's toughest neighborhoods. So it's going to be interesting.
Stay tuned.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Bermel.
You're listening to American Medicine Today and watching. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kimberly Bermel, followed by Ethan Euger.
Glad to be here.
And Jeff Wagstaff.
Thank you for having me, Kimberly.
Now, this is a fun guest we have on the line, Kevin Hazard, a freelance journalist and former paramedic whose new book, 1,000 Naked Strangers, A Paramedic's Wild Ride to the Edge and Back. It chronicles his crazy years working in some of Atlanta's toughest neighborhoods, and he's here to share some of those stories with us. So thank you for being here, Kevin.
Thanks for having me.
I got to tell you, the reason I wanted to have you as a guest, Kevin, is my brother is a firefighter EMT near Orlando, Florida, and just some of the stories he's told me are so crazy that EMTs see people at their absolute worst sometimes, and it just takes a special kind of human being to want to do that. What made you want to be a paramedic?
A couple things, but a big part of it was that I had gone to the Citadel. A lot of my friends were in the military. When they went off to Iraq and Afghanistan, it kind of, raised this question in my mind of how would I handle a situation like that. And when I covered a story that involved some firefighters and paramedics, it occurred to me that this is an opportunity to do something right here at home that was larger than myself, and it could also sort of, satisfy that urge that I had to be part of something kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I really love the title of the book, 1,000 Naked Strangers. How and why do so many of the calls you respond to have people in various states of undress?
Yeah, well, a big part of that, of course, is the fact that, your unfortunate moment never comes at a convenient time. But the truth is, a lot of people who wind up on the business end of 911 are doing things they ought not do anyway. So a lot of that includes being partially or undressed.
Right. Doesn't that fit into the old adage, like always wear clean underwear? Blah, blah, blah.
That's what your grandma said.
In a way, yeah.
You never know when the paramedics are going to come. You want to have clean underwear on. Exactly.
Okay. What type of training did you receive in ambulance driving?
Oh, about a 3 or 4 hour course. And they take you in a parking lot with a bunch of cones and just have you drive around, and almost like the sort of stereotypical 16-year-old getting a driver's permit course.
Right.
Not a whole lot to it. They pretty much assume that if you can drive, you can handle it.
Well, and I think I read somewhere about you specifically, Kevin, that you always think, and all of us think, that when we see sirens and lights behind us, the person piloting this massive vehicle probably had a lot of training right, and knows what they're doing. You said that's certainly not the case.
No, a lot of times it isn't. I personally am a horrible driver, and they trusted me with one. So no, definitely not always the case. The first job that I ever worked at was a really weird place, had a lot of crazy characters, and one of my partners convinced my wife to drive this thing down the street, which she did, and as soon as she was behind the wheel, he flipped the sirens on.
Oh, no.
And she found herself quite unwittingly driving this ambulance with the sirens on down the road. That, I'm quite certain, is about as extreme condition as you can imagine. But, yeah, for the most part, we're all just normal drivers with some sirens at our disposal.
Right. Do you have any sort of interesting partner stories?
They're always getting matched up with some weird people, according to my brother, at least, in that industry. Any interesting ones of your own?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every time you get in the ambulance, it seems like you're with somebody else, and you don't always get along. Imagine going on a 12-hour car ride with a complete stranger. I mean, that's essentially what the job is. But one of my long-term partners, when he and I first started working together, he's a great friend now, godfather to my children, but his first impression was terrible. He's from Cleveland, so he spends all the time talking about how much he loves Cleveland, which already was kind of like, all right, that's weird. Who cares about Cleveland one way or the other? But then he told me he was afraid of birds.
Oh.
So I'm in an ambulance with a guy, and theoretically, we're in Atlanta's most dangerous neighborhoods. People are shooting and stabbing each other. And I'm here with a guy who tells me he's afraid of birds, and that should we see birds, I might be on my own.
He's going to abandon you if he sees a bird.
Yeah, that was not that's not the sort of thing that builds confidence in your partner.
Kevin, it says here in the prep information that the area that you work fed Grady Hospital in Atlanta. I did it mornings in Atlanta for a number of years, and Grady Hospital is kind of one of the roughest areas in Atlanta. A lot of gang fights, things of that nature. Did you come across a lot of that in your experience?
Yeah, Atlanta, like a lot of other big cities, has a lot of dangerous places. Plenty of, people getting shot or stabbed. The thing you realize is that there's a sort of a mentality that people who get themselves in trouble have, that sort of, don't necessarily look past the moment. There was two girls that were fighting one time, and one of them stabbed the other right in front of the cops. And in order to do that, I think you have to just not care about where will this go 5 minutes from now. Wow. So you see a lot of that. But, some of it was, a lot of what you see are really normal people that are just trying to get by. We actually, one of my partners and I witnessed a shooting one day, and it happened right in front of our ambulance. But the story was kind of interesting in that the shooter, was just running a little car washing business. He had a little power washer that he pulled behind his truck, and someone tried to rob him, and he defended himself. Wow. And so, you see plenty of that, of people who are just, living their lives and are prepared to defend what's theirs.
Right. Now, were there any type of calls that you just dreaded hearing when they would come in that you thought, oh man, I do not want to respond to this one?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can almost read between the lines and hear obese patient on the 4th floor of a walk-up apartment who has tons of medical problems and 7 family members and 38 different types of medication. That's usually, those are the hardest ones, because that's a critical patient who's going to be very hard to get to and then very hard to get them out. Right. And those are the ones that cause the most stress, because you've got to move quickly, you've got to do a good job. But, I'm about 180 pounds. When a patient comes in at 4 or 5, it's really hard to do anything, and those are the ones that when you hear them, you think, oh no.
Right.
Anything that involves domestic violence or children has to be a really tough call too, I'm sure.
Yeah, in a totally different way. Domestic violence, they're the most dangerous calls. We find ourselves in plenty of situations that are very dangerous, whether it's the patient who is violent and they fight us, or that we're just in a dangerous area. But a domestic dispute is very dangerous, because the emotions that come up from that are so raw, and people get, they say the ones you love are the ones you hurt the most, and that's certainly true. And oftentimes the victim will turn on you, because now you are sort of the authority,
right? And
they see their loved one in trouble, and they have this about face, and then suddenly they attack you. And obviously, anything with a child is always a heart. Even just a sick child makes you, kind of makes your heart ache.
Well, one thing before we let you go, Kevin, because we're almost out of time, one thing that made me cringe in the book was the story of what you found in your shoe one day, and I think that ultimately led to you wanting to retire as a paramedic. Tell us about it real quick.
Yeah, to do this job, you have to have a certain degree of professional detachment. You can't think too much about what your patient is going through. And the downside to that is if you allow yourself to fall into that trap too much, you can lose empathy. And I ran a shooting one night, very late at night, and I evidently walked too close. There was a guy who was shot in the head with a large caliber gun. I thought I had a rock stuck in the tread of my boot. When I got home, I heard it scratching on the floor. I took my boot off, and I saw that it wasn't a rock. It was a skull fragment from the shooting that I ran. And this was 10 years into this job of working nights in these crazy neighborhoods. And to me, it wasn't anything more than, I don't quite want to say I laughed, but I was sort of amused that this happened. And I could see by the look on my wife's face that this was not the normal person reaction. And it occurred to me at that moment that, perhaps I had been around too long and had gotten too cavalier with how I viewed my job and the world at large.
Well, and
that's kind of one of the big things to make me go.
And that's what happens a lot, too.
Right.
People that see these sort of things, they develop a dark sense of humor. I mean, you kind of have to, just as a coping mechanism. But
Right.
Oh, yeah, you definitely. If you can't find levity in the dark moments, then you're in real trouble.
You just real quick, you mentioned a guy named Daryl who nailed himself to a wall, I guess, to somehow get to the girlfriend.
explain.
Yeah, he had a common law wife, and they were having an argument, and she kicked him out. She had met her new man, and she wanted him gone. And his response to that was to nail himself to the wall. Took a nail gun, put it right through his elbow, and I guess he assumed that if she can't physically kick me out, then I'll be here forever.
Wow.
What he didn't bank on was that the fire department had a saw. They came down and cut him loose.
Wow.
But a perfect example, he wound up getting arrested once the cops came after him with cuffs. His wife got angry. She jumped on the cops. She wound up arrested. And in the midst of this pepper spray melee, they made up. And by the time we left, they were a happy couple again.
People are nuts, man. That's just the conclusion we've come to.
They really are.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin. Why don't you tell us where people can get your book?
You can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any other bookseller. I've got a website, kevinhazard.com. There's some information there.
Wow.
But anywhere you get books, you can find it.
Interesting read. Kevin Hazard, freelance journalist and former paramedic with a new book, 1,000 Naked Strangers, A Paramedic's Wild Ride to the Edge and Back. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Have a good one, Kevin.
Take care.
All right.
Well, coming up after the break, you'll hear more. You're listening to American Medicine Today.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonatti Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonatti spine procedures, Alfred Bonatti, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonatti and your host, Kimberly Bermel.
Thanks for continuing to listen to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bermel, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Glad to be here.
And Jeff Wagstaff.
Thanks for having me.
Joining us today to discuss a new high-tech wellness monitor for senior citizens is Jason Carroll with Hey Mom, Dad. Thanks for joining us, Jason.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I appreciate it.
Now, I think everybody's familiar with baby monitors and things like that for children, but this is a first for me. I've never heard of it being used so children can monitor the parents. Explain that to us.
It's a great question. And basically, we are filling a void in the marketplace where you either have the son-daughter either has no monitoring for their parents or they have the emergency-only button. So it's either one or the other. And we're finding that 99% of the time, the senior, the parent, just wants to get in touch with the kids, grandkids, or, the family or friends. So we have the emergency capability. We do have the emergency button. But filling that void, we do have the family and friends buttons. They're color-coded. The emergency button is red. The family friends button is blue. When that's pressed, that's going to activate an app on the recipient up to 5 family or friends on their smartphone, the Hey Mom Dad app. Senior presses it, the person gets an alert, they click on our app, and right then and there, they're going to be able to not only see through cameras placed in the house of the senior, but they're going to be able to talk to them as well, and the senior's going to be able to talk right back. And like I said, it fills that void of communication, of basically just making sure they're okay.
Here's my first thought when I read about this, though. I know my grandfather, and he's a logger in upstate New York. He's 82 now. He's still out in the woods cutting down trees.
Wow.
He's a total BA. And I know if we set up something like this for him, he'd be like, I don't want you spying on me. So have you met any resistance from sort of ornery seniors who don't want their kids spying on them?
That's a great question. I've had numerous conversations with not only the kids, but more often the seniors. Mainly it's the children that call us to get the process started. But then like, you know what? Hey, would you mind talking to my mom or dad and explaining it to them?
Sure.
And 99% of the time, once we get through all of our information and they check out the website and they talk to their kids a little bit more, they're seeing that it's not really an invasion of privacy because you're allowing certain people to check in on you.
Sure.
And, we are developing down the road. We're going to have cameras that are able to be turned off and things of that nature. But right now, the kids, if they happen to, maybe they haven't heard from their parents in a while, they happen to just hit the app, check in on the camera. Oh, mom or dad's asleep on the couch. That's why they're not answering the phone. It's peace of mind. It's not, by any means to check up on them, to try to, peep in when they're not wanted. It's to make everyone feel okay and everybody's on the same page.
I was just going to ask, is there something that they have to activate it so you can see in, but apparently at the flip of a switch, you can turn it on at any time? It sounds good in theory. It also sounds a bit intrusive, but let me ask you, is there a way to safeguard access to this so nobody else can log into that system?
Excellent question. The only people that have access to those cameras and those alert buttons are the folks that they have to physically scan the back of the QR codes on the back of the buttons as well as the cameras on their cell phone to be able to have access to the particular information within the app.
Okay.
No one else can go into their app, obviously, unless they have their cell phone. Someone gets a new cell phone, they still got to rescan everything. If someone adds a additional camera or additional alert buttons, they have to be scanned as well. And at any time, if for whatever reason, if there's a falling out with a family member or a friend, they can be removed as well.
Vote them off the island.
The
tribe has spoken.
It's correct.
Well, I just remember years ago, my elderly grandparents lived next door to my mom, and she got them one of those old phones, but it had like the red and green or red and whatever button, and one was for 911 or firemen, and then the other was friends or family. And they were always afraid they were going to press the wrong thing and incur charges. But this is different now because you can physically see the person.
Right, and that's one reason. Many reasons that the buttons are color coded.
Okay.
We do provide lanyards for the folks. We do ask that you may want to keep the red one around your neck or close by. The blue ones, a lot of folks just put them around the house. They put one in the kitchen, maybe one in the living room. The red one, not only is that a 911 emergency button, but that also alerts the 5 family and friends as well. So that's kind of like all hands on deck. There is something going on. The red button's been pushed. But from what we're finding, 99% of the time, it's the blue button. It's just, hey, how you doing? I wanted to check in on you. Or it's the senior that's saying, hey, I want to show you the new book I bought today, or however the family dynamic is.
It's FaceTime for your grandparents.
Pretty much,
There you go.
But what is the cost on something like this? Is there a pay-per-use? How does that work?
Excellent question. There is no pay-per-use. You can use it 1,000 times a day if you want. The family and friends can be anywhere in the world, wherever they have cell service. We do have a variety of packages. And there are monthly charges just for the monitoring. We have a package for everyone's budget. We really worked hard on this to kind of say, okay, if you want to pay for the product itself, we can do that. And you have a very low monthly fee. Or if you want to kind of roll that in together, maybe a little bit more per month, but you get it right away, same as if you were to pay for the product outright. One other thing that I kind of want to jump to as well, in addition to the alert pagers as well as the cameras, we do have something else that's really awesome. It's called our bed monitor. And the bed monitor works through the Hey Mom Dad app. That's basically a little pad that's positioned underneath the sheet of the recipient's bed. That measures not only blood pressure, but it also measures heart rate as well. And the family and friends can see that information on their app as well. So if it's in the middle of the night, mom's been having a little trouble breathing here and there, you check in, you pop in, oh, everything's good. All right, I can go back to sleep.
Sure.
So that is an additional aspect of our system as well.
All right, Jason, and where can people get more info?
Well, we do have an awesome website. You can go to heymomdad.com. Cool information, some great pictures, some great information about the packages. You can obviously order there as well. And we definitely love talking to folks. Feel free to call us toll-free anytime at 1-800-352-0887.
I just have one quick question. I know Ethan's probably going to get upset, but is there anything that can control privacy? Because, as you said, if people can just dial in at any time, I mean, there are sometimes people do want their privacy. Is there a way to override that?
Grandma and Grandpa having sexy time.
Well,
we are constantly refining our system. Like I said, down the road, I can't say how long it will be. There will be a way for the senior to actually turn off the camera, and they can turn it back on whenever they're ready.
Got it.
For now, if, like you mentioned, they're having private time, they can unplug the camera if they want.
We like to refer to that as
there you go.
Sexy time.
Well, all right, Borat. Sexy time. Everybody has it. So,
exactly.
It's one of those things where we don't recommend unplugging the camera because if it's if someone forgets to plug it back in and something, God forbid, happens.
Exactly. It defeats the purpose.
Right.
Exactly. So that's the family members talking to the parents, grandparents, and they can kind of figure it out from there.
Got it. Maybe they just cover the mic and put a sheet over it or something.
You can do that. Absolutely.
There you go.
Put a pillow over it.
Thanks, Jason. That's cool.
All right.
All right, Jason.
Well, thank you very much. Jason Carroll with Hey Mom.
Hey Mom, Dad.
Hey Mom, Dad. Yes.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks,
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm getting a great visual. If we get like 10 of these and put them up at the villages.
Yeah. Anyway, Hey Mom, Dad, that is a great app, though.
I'm telling you, how how many times my wife and her parents are getting older in their 70s, and my wife, I bet 3 times a week, she'll call me and be like, Mom's not answering her phone. I don't know what's going on. And it's usually because they're still out driving and doing things. They're
Exactly.
not bedridden at home.
But it's scary.
But she freaks out when she can't get in touch with them. So
That's the perfect app.
Exactly.
Well, you're listening to American Medicine Today. Make sure you stay tuned. On the flip side of the break, you'll hear more.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm joined by Ethan Euchre.
Glad to be here.
Jeff Wagstaff.
Good day.
And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute.
Hello.
Hi.
Let's look at what's new in medicine today, featuring Alfred Bonati, MD.
So what's going on today, Doc?
I think this is a thought, but I really need a lot of help. I think physicians, they need to organize. I will propose that we start to really think very seriously in an organization that is going to protect and defend medicine, the patients, and the doctors. Mm-hmm. They create situations by political power in that they are not tolerable or they are not tolerated by other professions. If anything of these abuses that happen to physicians in the profession of medicine will be on the legal system, will be an incredible outbreak, and they will stop it immediately.
Right.
Physicians today, they are so disheartened in the fights that they need to do. And it's not only that they need to fight to get good health care for the patients, that every one of us love. That's why we came to medicine. but with a tremendous amount of regulatory systems created for the doctors, specific for the doctors, the tremendous amount of paperwork demanded for the doctors, for the tremendous amount of fight that you need to do to collect from the insurance by the doctors, for the tremendous amount of regulations that you have in these hospitals, that they are hospitals for profit, and practically managed by the dollars, not by the heart of medicine. But Obama created a law to avoid the expansion of hospitals owned by physicians, when we already know that the quality of the result of the healthcare in those hospitals is far superior than the regular hospitals in the nation.
Why do you think the doctors are being so passive about their livelihood and the good that they're supposed to do for their patients? Why are they getting out of the system instead of standing up and saying, we're going to take medicine back?
Well, not only that, Doc, but as Kimberly's saying, just to sort of add on to that, when I was growing up, doctors were revered by, and I mean, they still are, they're revered by, average people. But yet, when I hear you talk about your fellow physicians, of course, you're the exception to the rule, that you say that they're like beaten dogs. They don't want to take on the system. They don't want to stand up and fight. Why is that?
It's something that happens in medicine. I don't know if it is in the training programs. We don't have leaders. Every one of us is a leader. So it's a leader in their own house. But when we try to get together to create an organization that will be powerful, like the Bar Association or like the lawyers, they don't react like that.
Do you think that's because the AMA was supposed to represent them and instead they got in bed with the insurance companies and the government and they feel like they have no one to represent them?
Well, it's very simple. If you look at the AMA in the 1950s or so like that, there was a very powerful organization, and the legal system started to chip the power by forcing physicians to accept some type of benefits or start to create laws that they will be able to reprimand physicians. But in 1963, they they asked the American Medical Association to give the opportunity to pay only 20%, creating the insurance that it will be called Medicare, to pay 20% of the money from the 100% of the bill. 20% of that one will be paid by the government. The American Medical Association agreed to do that. And then the next thing that happens, a few months after, the insurance pull out from the 80% of the coverage, and what happened is nobody fought. The doctors didn't fight, and the politicians took over. And what happened at that time is they start to pay from $10 that there was the bill of the doctor. They start to pay $2, and the doctors start to claim, "Hey, wait a minute, it's supposed to be $10, not $2."
And then it was too late.
And then they said. They start to accuse the doctor to be greedy, to be irresponsible with the society, and they create an issue of irresponsible physicians. When they did that, American Medical Association was totally destroyed. And today is a business. It's political system with a business in bed with the insurance companies and with the politicians.
Right.
They don't care about the doctors.
And it's only representative of about 17% of doctors throughout this country.
That is because the physicians walk out from that organization that is lethal. I mean, one of the causes why we have Obamacare is because the American Medical Association vouched for this program, which is a disaster for medicine.
Was it really the AMA, or wasn't it just people sitting in an audience and they handed out jackets to everyone?
The president of the AMA was sitting there in the Rose Garden. So they are irresponsible, mediocre, totally sold individuals that they don't have any heart for medicine, and they create this system that today is making medicine a disaster. And the country is going to start to pay for because they're going to have a very mediocre medicine treating people, and we are not accustomed to that. So I really raise a voice I want that start to have a polemic between doctors. We need to organize. We need to put this thing together, and we need to start to make the people responsible of hurting medicine. We need to hurt them back.
And that's a look at what's new in medicine today with Alfred Bonatti, MD.
Yeah.
And we agree.
I like that, Doc.
It's way too important. And especially when a government controls your health care, they control your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that about wraps things up. Make sure you stay tuned to our affiliates because we're going to say bye-bye to News Radio 970 WFLA. But hey, those in other markets, we want you to stick around because we have a special segment just for you. Make sure you check us out on Bloomberg Saturdays at 6 and then here locally in Tampa at 7 and in Las Vegas, KTNV at 7:30.
Vegas,
Make
baby.
sure you stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I am feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.